Session. We are back into the Finance Committee meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn Finance?
I will make a motion. We came out of executive session at 7:12 PM. I'll make a motion to adjourn from Finance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I'd like to call the May 28th, 2024 council meeting to order. If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hare,
Here.
Hazeltine, Rose,
Here.
Shields,
Here.
Simpson,
Here.
Coin,
Here.
DeSalvo.
Reading of the minutes.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
I move that the minutes of the regular meeting of May 13th, 2024 as prepared and submitted by the clerk be approved.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the minutes?
Rose,
Yes.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Coin,
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met prior to council this evening and will again meet in 2 weeks. And there are many items on the agenda. Health, Safety, and Sanitation, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, no report this evening.
Special Legislation, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report, no meeting scheduled.
Streets and Sidewalks, Ms. Hare.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, but I do want to make a comment to the residents and people visiting our community. We are seeing a lot of baby deer being born at this time. One was born in my neighbor's driveway behind his truck. Cute as could be, I have to admit. I had to go and take a look at it. But we need to be very cautious. There are a lot of deer that are in our neighborhoods that are running, babies that, are running too. So please take caution when you're moving around in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Requests for council action. We have several for the finance. 24-112, amend ordinance 17023, bids for the Spring Grove Cemetery Road improvements. 24-113, cooperative purchase fitness equipment, MCRC. 24-114, budget amendments. 24-115, expenditure for Central Square annual CAD RMS system for the police. 24-116, amend ordinance 4724, Prospect Street Bridge replacement. 24-117, modified 2001 Medina Area Transportation Task Force report. 24-118, a then and now for Winthrop Construction Emergency Railroad repairs. 24-119, resolution of necessity for EMS levy. And finally, 24-120, amend salaries and benefits code, new part-time parking violations hearing examiner. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to thank Detectives Mike Wovena and Mike English for their efforts in researching the equipment needs and updates for the city workout facility and the lower level of City Hall. The previous equipment was 40 years old, so we're hoping that this new equipment will last another 40 years. And this was paid for by the Cleveland Clinic President's Fund, Thomas and Joe Lincoln Foundation, Medical Mutual, that's our health insurance, and the Van Epp Foundation, and the labor for the project was provided by our service department. On Saturday, May 18th, the Gospel Festival was held on Public Square. It's the first one by Valerie Freeman and her crew, and was very well attended. Thankful for great weather. Many groups that I talked to up there were from Akron, Cleveland, and areas surrounding Medina County, and could not say enough good about the city hosting such an event and a display of unity. I'd also like to thank council members Paul Rose and Reggie Hare for attending and helping with the event. Yesterday was a Memorial Day parade and ceremony were held yesterday morning. Thanks to all who attended to pay respect for the military members we lost, as well as to express our thanks and appreciation to those currently serving. This is the second year in a row that we had 2 military jets fly over during the Memorial Day parade. A number of people have thank me for that. I had nothing to do with that whatsoever. We were just blessed to have them last year, and this year they came back and did it again. They came over once at 10 a.m., right when the parade was ready to step off at the square, and then about 11:15, 11:20, they came over again when the ceremony was going on at Spring Grove Cemetery. And then I'd also like to thank Jansen and his team for placing the flower pots out last week, as well as the flowers around the gazebo and the corners of the square for the beautification of our historic district for the Memorial Day events. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. There are a couple items on the agenda that I will address when we get to them.
Thank you, Mr. Huber, Law Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you, Chief Kinney, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Mrs. Marshall, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple items to note for council and the public this evening. Our next round of ribbon cutting events are scheduled for Friday, June 14th, which happens to be Flag Day. And our first one is at 10 a.m. A new business called Romancing the Walls will open up at 443 West Liberty Street. Then at 11 a.m., we're celebrating a 25th anniversary for the Gardener's Cottage located at 226 South Court Street. And the next project is, if there's ever been a groundbreaking that's been deserving, it would be for the Acme Grocery Store, which is scheduled for 11:30 a.m. at 1225 South Court Street. There will be more details coming out on the logistics for that groundbreaking. And then the last event of the day is with, for a new business called Reform and Restore Pilates. And they are located at 799 North Court Street in suite number 8. And as always, the ribbon cuttings are a collaboration with the Medina Chamber of Commerce and Main Street Medina, and we hope that you'll be able to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gladish, Building Official.
Thank you, Mr. President. The building department's extremely busy. We have 7 large commercial projects in the construction process now, and 2 new restaurants. Thank you.
Welcome back, by the way. Mr. Pacoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Columbia Gas project that's going on east of North Court Street and north of Liberty should be buttoning up in a few weeks. They're starting the pavement restoration as well as the tree lawn restoration. So folks been patient in that area for quite some time, but it's a great improvement. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week, we notified with a flyer the residents in the area of State Route 18 between Roshan and Albert about night work that ODOT was going to start tonight. That's been pushed back one day. They'll be doing some milling in that area starting at 7 p.m. tomorrow. Should be over by midnight. That's in preparation of the final course of asphalt, which everyone's excited to see. That will start over the next several weeks. We don't have an exact date yet, but that also will be night work. We will notify everyone within the city that might be affected by the noise. It should only be a day or two in the city. I know it'll be frustrating, but that's going to signal pretty much the end of the project. So.
Thank you, Mr. Dutton, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Notices, communications, and petitions. We have none. Unfinished business. We have none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public will be permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during a portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair, and a reasonable time limit of approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the rear microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? Chet?
Good evening. My name is Chet Simmons, live at 431 West Washington Street. Ward 1 needs a voice, and we need your help. The CDC started up the historic neighborhoods. Ward 1, west side of town, represented by Water Tower District, by Bankers Row, historic neighborhoods. West Liberty Street has got combination of businesses and residences. The comprehensive plan, as I recall, talked about more of a softer, walkable area for that major artery into the city. I know when they moved the dog park from Memorial to Mellert, we didn't hear about the good things that's over there, the splash pad, the pavilion, the paths, the ball fields, the playground equipment. What we heard about was that the group needed to start a Facebook or an email chain because the folks that utilized that dog park at Memorial didn't feel safe at Mellert. And that's just a crime. So, we need your help to make that area look better. I know the county treasurer has created the land bank that we can now start to utilize, or cities can. And we've got the property at the corner of Prospect and Liberty, the Yost Sunoco TCI leasing building. And at some point, I'm sure that will come into play. And so the Bankers Row and neighbors in that area would like to get ahead of it a little bit and pass along some ideas that we have for it. We would like to propose that lot become kind of like a wayfaring station, kind of a you are here kind of type thing, visitor orientation, some limited parking. We'd like to see the interurban station moved to that spot. You could put it right out at the street, right out the sidewalk, like it is now, like it's displayed now. That lot's 100 by 150 feet, so it's not a very big lot. Interurban station's only 12 by 12, so it plopped out on there nicely. It's a nice location, and a perfect location, because the rails ran right down Liberty Street. So it would be right in front of where the interurban used to run before it made a left and hung south on Medina Street to head down to Chippewa Lake. When I'm looking at that corridor, as I said, there's a mixture of businesses and homes. 26 homes. There are 16 businesses and 15 businesses that are actually in homes. There's attorneys, finances, locksmith. The printer has 2 homes. 6 of those businesses down at State or Marks and Liberty. So if we take the 6 out of the equation, there's 10 businesses and then 41 homes in that stretch, either residences, apartments, or homes that are in those businesses. So in that half a mile stretch, we've got a 4-to-1 ratio of homes. So we'd like that corner lot to keep that more residential, softer look. Why do I propose the interurban station? 1, because it's a natural location since it's right on the tracks. And 1, because selfishly, I don't want to see another business put in there, plop down, a new brick and mortar business, plop down with that mix with all those houses, that 4-to-1 ratio. 2, I'd be concerned about the interurban station where it's sitting. It's right on the property line, easily hit by a great awl, a mixer, a dozer, anything. It's just right there, precarious. And the 3rd one, I'd hate to see that it be used as a valet station or something with the hotel. I'd hate to see that. It would become kind of a clubhouse for 16-year-olds and destroy that historic nature of that building. So I thank the council and administration for their consideration. And as always, thanks for the help with Ward 1.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wishes to address council at this time? Now's the time. Nope. Okay. Introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on the following ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 9824, 9924, 124, 10124, 10224, Resolution 10324, 10424, Ordinance 10524, 10624, and 10724.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I will make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings of tonight's ordinances and resolutions.
Second?
Any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules on 3 readings? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Ordinance 9824, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a quitclaim deed providing for the conveyance of city-owned property, permanent parcel numbers 02819A 21265, 02819A 266, and 02819A 21267. Part of city lots 20, 22, and 23 to the Medina City Development Corporation.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Mrs. Marshall?
I think this is mine, Mr.
Oh,
President.
Mayor? Okay, Mrs. Marshall, thanks for your participation.
I think I submitted this request. This
Yeah.
is to, this is the parking lot across from the current Napa on South Elmwood Street in the 200 block. And the request is to provide this to the Medina City Development Corporation with hopes of improving the parking lot through economic development and a shared use.
Thank you. Just a kind of a little typo, I think there's supposed to be, the second parcel number is 02819A, it's supposed to be 21266. The other ones have a pattern, so I'm just going off that pattern. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Shields, or Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 9824 passes 5-0.
Ordinance 9924, an ordinance amending sections 3102B1, 3105, and 3107 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio relative to Parks Department and accepting the job description of maintenance technician.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
Mr. President.
Mayor?
Jansen was not able to stay as he's coaching baseball tonight, so I'll cover his too. This ordinance amends the job description and upgrades the pay scale for the parks maintenance technician from a 32 A through F to a 34 A through F, and results in abolishing the turf technician position from the pay code and changes our number of part-time union laborers in the Parks Department from 5 to 6. The Civil Service Commission and the Law Director have reviewed and approved the job description changes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 9924 passes 5-0.
Ordinance 124, an ordinance amending section 3114L of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio, relative to sick time payout.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
Mr. President.
Mr. Shields?
The emergency clause has been requested. I move to add at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause?
Discussion on the emergency clause and the ordinance. Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. It was pointed out to us a few weeks ago that the ORC requires more of payout of sick time than our pay code authorized. We weren't sure if that applied to us based on us being a charter municipality. We submitted that to Mr. Huber, who said it does. So we are required to do this. The emergency clause is requested because the employee who pointed it out is retiring and will be retiring before this would take effect if it did not have the emergency clause.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance or the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Ordinance 124 passes 5-0.
Ordinance 10124, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the Ohio Law Enforcement Body Armor Program Award of $4,121.25 for the purchase of body armor and carriers for galls for the Medina Municipal Court.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Durham, do you want to take a shot at this one?
I mean, it's for the court. I don't know what I can tell you. It looks like they're getting some body armor, but I don't know much else I can tell you.
Well, yeah, there's 4,000, I think they're receiving this, I don't know if the grant that they received helps them buy some body armor, as you said, so. Anybody have a problem with that? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Chief says it's the same grant the police get, so
So we're good. I like that. That's a good answer.
Shields,
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 101-24 passes 5-0.
Ordinance 102-24, an ordinance adopting a new section 94311 of the codified ordinances of the city of Medina, Ohio relative to the schedule of charges and fees for Spring Grove Cemetery and repealing ordinance number 9724 passed May 13th, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance amends Ordinance 9724 pertaining to the schedule of charges and fees for the Spring Grove Cemetery. Recently, our staff discovered that the ordinance passed on May 14th, 2024, omitted a recent revision from the 2023 that included pricing options for private mausoleums. This revision includes all necessary fees.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 102-24 passes 5-0.
Resolution 103-24, resolution authorizing Kleinfelder, Inc. on behalf of the City of Medina, Ohio, to file an application for grant assistance from the Ohio Department of Development for funding under the fiscal year 24 Community Housing Impact Preservation CHIP grant program.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields.
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes the emergency clause?
Discussion on the emergency clause in the resolution. Mr. Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. President. This will allow Kleinfelder to apply for our program year 24 CHIP grant program. This is a biannual program that we apply for in conjunction with the City of Brunswick. This will allow us to utilize approximately $350,000 for repair rehab of homeowners who qualify as low to moderate income. It also allows for $16,000 for rental assistance. The emergency clause is requested as the application is due on June 20th.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Resolution 103-24 passes 5-0.
Resolution 104-24, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a partnership agreement with the City of Brunswick and to file an application for grant assistance with the Ohio Development Service Agency for a fiscal year 24 Community Housing Impact Preservation Program CHIP grant.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Ms. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes the emergency clause?
Discussion on the emergency clause and resolution. Mr. Dutton.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a companion resolution with the previous. This allows us to enter an agreement with Brunswick to apply for the CHIP program. It actually gains us an extra $100,000 to utilize on the project. Brunswick has already passed this partnership agreement. Thank you.
And the emergency clause?
As requested again because the application is due on June 20th.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Resolution 104-24 passes 5-0.
Ordinance 105-24, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a maintenance agreement with the County of Medina for the maintenance of boundary roads.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion, Mr. Bacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this agreement is between the city and Medina County. It outlines the maintenance responsibilities for each respective jurisdiction on boundary roads. It's been in existence for over 50 years, needed to be updated. The last update was in 1996, and appreciate Mr. Huber working with the county legal team on this. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Ordinance 105-24 passes 5-0.
Ordinance 106-24, an ordinance approving a petition for special assessments for a special energy improvement project and a supplemental plan for the Medina County Energy Improvement District under Chapter 170 of the Ohio Revised Code, authorizing the mayor and/or the director of finance to enter into any and all documents necessary in connection with the petition and supplemental plan, to authorize and levy special assessment for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and improving certain public improvements in the City of Medina in cooperation with the City of Medina Energy Special Improvement District, and to approve a cooperative agreement and special assessment agreement in connection with such improvements and special assessments.
Move to approve?
Second.
Whew, that's a lot. Yeah. Mrs. Marshall?
Thank you, Mr. President. So the City of Medina formed an Energy Special Improvement District in 2019 for businesses, companies, nonprofits, and government entities to use a development tool called PACE financing, and PACE stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy. The Legacy Hotel Medina would like to use this tool as part of their financing package, and the PACE program allows a property owner to finance the upfront cost of energy or other eligible improvements on a property and then pay the cost back over time through a voluntary assessment. So this request is for council to do a couple of things. One is to adopt via the ordinance the petition that was signed by the property owner for the special assessments for special energy improvement project and a supplemental plan for the Medina County Energy Improvement District under Chapter 1710 of the Ohio Revised Code. It authorizes the mayor and/or the finance director to enter into any and all documents necessary in connection with the petition and the supplemental plan, the cooperative agreement, and the special assessment agreement. Also to authorize and levy the special assessments for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and improving certain public improvements in the City of Medina in cooperation with the City of Medina Energy Special Improvement District. Those energy efficient improvements are for HVAC, windows, roofing, lighting, those types of things. And then the last thing is to approve a cooperative agreement and a special assessment agreement in connection with those improvements and special assessments. The ordinance was reviewed by the law director and he has approved it. And I've invited Chris Burnham here today, this evening, who's the president of the Development Finance Authority of Summit County, who the city has been working with on this PACE financing project. Chris has been a great resource for economic development and has been instrumental in putting this together. So I'm going to invite Chris up to the podium, and then he's got a couple handouts that I'm going to bring over to council.
Okay. Welcome, Chris.
My name is Chris Burnham. I'm the president of the Development Finance Authority in Summit County. We're actually a port authority under the law. And I brought these handouts with me in anticipation of making some comments. But honestly, Kimberly did such a good job. I don't know that I really have a lot to add to the structure of the transaction. For council's benefit, you can see that we do things in other counties around Ohio, and I believe this will be the 5th project that we have been asked to finance in Medina. Those have been in the Medina with a company called Spray Products out on Lake Road. We've worked in Brunswick, Valley City, and Seville. We have a lending tool called the Jobs and Investment Bond Fund, which subject to underwriting criteria that we're comfortable with, enables us to finance something. And we were asked by the city to consider looking at the hotel project. We like it. We're one of 2 lenders if everything does go forward. Our bond would be about $4.5 million. And we would just be part of the capital stack. I will add that there is no recourse to the city whatsoever. Despite the fact that it's special assessments. And the public improvement language has to do with the fact that it's in the public interest to reduce the carbon footprint and to create jobs and investment. And that's why we exist. And I don't know if there's any other questions, Mr. President?
No, I think you gave us a chart of all the various projects that the Development Finance Authority of Summit County has been involved with over the years, since 2004, it looks like. And many, many projects have occurred, throughout Northeast Ohio, and I would hope that all of them have been successful, but it seems like it's a great tool to be used to aid in the development of certain projects that can provide the efficiency and reduce the carbon footprint through the energy, efficient needs. So I think that's a pretty good thing for everybody. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Burnham about that?
No, sir.
Mr. Rose?
Thank you, Mr. President. I asked this question at the last council or finance meeting about this, and there's some wording here. Article 7, Section 7.1, events of default, says this, one of them is the city shall fail to pay and deliver to the trustee any assigned special assessments due hereunder. And you said that the city's under no obligation. Okay, I'm not a lawyer. It's like, fingernails on the chalkboard.
I think he's talking about the cooperative agreement. Paul, Councilman Rose, could you say that section again?
It's Article 7.
I can tell,
Go ahead.
I can tell you what it's about.
Okay.
The project sponsor, the borrower, has elected to voluntarily assess the property and make special assessments to finance these improvements. That becomes part of the tax duplicate. So once the project closes, and if you would look at any of the projects we've done in Summit County, you'll see we've done 7 PACE projects now. The bottom of the tax duplicate actually says where special assessments and all the taxing authorities are listed. The Medina County ESID will be listed. The borrower makes the tax payment, goes to the auditor. The auditor and treasurer collect the payments and see to it that all the taxing districts get their share. Under the law, the treasurer sends it to the city, who then must send it to our trustee. If for some reason the city held on to that money, that would be a problem. We've actually asked the county, and we don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but in Summit County, our treasurer sends that payment directly to our trustee bank and bypasses the cities, because we have 5 different communities, and the county thought that would be more efficient. It's better for us, actually, if that happens.
Okay.
So Paul, if that language means that the city of Medina is in effect a conduit, and when they say if the city defaults, it simply means that the city didn't send the payment, that would constitute the beginning of the default. But if you look at this agreement as a whole, the penalties for default don't fall back on the city. The penalties fall back on the borrower. And so the city doesn't have any.
Okay, all right,
You'll have to trust me on that, Paul, because I'm a lawyer.
You'll be the only lawyer I trust. Okay, no, it's just to a layman, and those words there, it is a little confusing, but I've had 3 lawyers tell me pretty much what Mr. Huber just said, and you pretty much confirmed it too, so I'm comfortable with it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question or comment? Mr. Burnham, thanks for your comments.
Thank you.
Kimberly?
Mr. President, Bethany, did you want to say anything? I think Bethany Dentler from the Medina County Port Authority, who has also been working on this project and another aspect of it, would like to say a few words.
So I just wanted to share that the Legacy Hotel project is one of the most important community and economic development projects that we're currently working on at the county level, both at Medina County Economic Development Corporation and the Medina County Port Authority. Having conducted business with the city's economic development director for over a decade now, I can confirm that there is a strong level of interest in the new hotel from the city's industrial base. The Medina County Port Authority is supporting the new hotel development with the capital lease that will allow the developer to save hundreds of thousands of dollars on the cost of sales tax on construction materials, And the Port Authority also is setting aside its full allocation of the state brownfields grants totaling $1 million for reimbursement of demolition costs. I also serve as the vice chair of the Medina City Energy Special Improvement District Board, and that board has voted twice to support this PACE loan for the hotel. Once last year when we approved our annual plan for 2024, and then again in late April when we approved the specific PACE project documents that are part of the ordinance that you have before you today. We believe this project will be transformational for Medina and will impact the county economy very positively. So we would encourage your support in approving this ordinance tonight.
Thank you. Mrs. Marshall, anything further?
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any other comments, discussion?
Mr. President, we have Mark Hertrick here as one of the organizers of this project, and the only thing we could say to Mark is don't screw this up.
Well, it's on TV now, so.
Mr. President?
Yeah, Matt?
I'm not sure. I think Mr. Stevenson would like to speak.
Yeah, just briefly. I've been in front of this board a few times now, and I appreciate all the work you've done to help us get this over the finish line. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that, this PACE financing is indispensable to the project. The combination of things that Kimberly and Bethany and others, and Chris and his organization and Summit County have done to enable the project to be viable in and of itself, have been entirely indispensable. I mean, it would really make the economics much more difficult to build and sustain a project like this for a community like this one without this kind of assistance. So I'm grateful for all the work. Frankly, this is a pretty complicated project and a pretty complicated capital stack. And if it wasn't ultimately or hasn't been for the work of all this group here that many of whom spoke, and ultimately the council here, we wouldn't be able to get off the ground. So I'm grateful for it, and I want to make sure that we're on the record recognizing the fact that, without the Port Authority and without economic development, without the Development Finance Authority, and without the capital lease, without all of these projects and programs, I'm not sure that we would be where we are. So I'm grateful for the consideration and for the group's effort.
Thank you. All right, any other comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 10624 passes 5-0.
Ordinance 10724, an ordinance amending ordinance number 19023, passed November 28th, 2023, amendments to the 24 budget.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion, Mr. Durham.
Thank you, Mr. President. These are a number of relatively small items that we discussed at Finance for various purposes, but
Thank you. Any other comments? Clerk, please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance.
Coin.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 10724 passes 5-0.
Council comments. Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to echo what the mayor said earlier. Kudos to everybody that worked so hard to get the renovation of the workout room here at City Hall completed. Prior to the finance meeting tonight, we were able to thank everybody that worked so hard and the investors that made it happen. And again, I agree with the mayor. I hope it'll last another 40 years. It was such a great improvement and such hard work by a lot of individuals. I'd like to thank Jansen and his staff and the service department and their staff for providing us another memorable weekend for this Memorial Day holiday that, recognized all the fallen soldiers since the Civil War. The only other thing I'd like to say, and I'm on my bully pulpit again, that with everything that's going on in the world and in our own nation with the natural disasters, the political turmoil on both sides of the aisle, it's easy to get caught up in all of the turmoil, I should say. But it's so easy just to be kind to one another, and I'm going to keep repeating it as long as I have the opportunity to sit on this dais. Please just take time and be kind to one another. When you see somebody on the street, whether you know them or not, it's just easy to say hi and smile. That's it. Be kind.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Mr. Rose?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to give thanks to the Gold Star families for the sacrifice that they made with their loved ones, and it's because of their sacrifice that we're allowed to do what we do here today. Without them fighting for our freedoms and our rights, we wouldn't be here. We would be told what we're going to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? With that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.